What's up, YouTube? It's Slabs Comics, and I'm doing this kind of like a tutorial video. A lot of people out there have asked me, like, how do you crack and resubmit a CBCS comic? Well, every slab is going to be different, and this is CBCS's current slab. Um, they have these channel locks that are on all sides of the book, that are encasing all sides of the book. So, first things first is you got to get these little locks off. So, get a set of pliers, come over the top, reach on there, and don't be afraid. Grab onto that thing pretty hard because it's going to take a little bit of force. Just grab it, work it forward, work it back, work it forward. That one pops off. So you got one down. We'll do the other one. Forward and back, forward and back. There it goes. So now that you got the top part off, the rest of this book, the rest of this case, it's pretty much going to open up like a clamshell. You can just start working your fingers into the side and pry it open. And once you got it open, you can pull the book that's in there right out. All right, so now I got the book out. Next, you take your handy dandy utility knife, nice and sharp, right? You don't need to go across the whole book, but what I like to do is I go across the top. Be careful, you're not going to cut the book. All right, so I got through the top part, and sometimes I'll just stick my finger a little bit in the top just to make sure I got everything I needed to, and I did. Now I'm going to go down the side, and I will go down the whole side. And I take it easy, nice and slow. I want to make sure I'm not going to accidentally get over and cut the book. Okay, and I go all the way down to that bottom edge. Sorry about the glare, guys. I'm trying to focus on the book itself and getting this done right, as opposed to, you know, making sure everything's all nice and framed up and stuff. All right, and I'll go about halfway down here just to give it some room. You know, because those, especially when you're using these knives to cut your books out, you know, don't forget you're working with plastic here, and so that plastic sometimes will develop a nice sharp edge on there, and you don't want your book, especially the surface of the book, touching any parts of those sharp edge plastics. So I work my finger in there, and I'm just going along the top and the edge, making sure I lift up all the plastic nice and safely away from the book. I go around the backside, and I'm pushing the book out of the well that it was sitting in, so I can just grab onto a piece of it. Now that I got the book up, just pull up and out, and there we go. And now I got my book out, and it's ready to get, now I have it ready to either press and clean it. This one's a 9/8, so I'm not going to do much to it. I'm not going to do anything to it at all, actually. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to put it in a window bag and get it prepped for further signature over at East Coast Comic Con. And maybe I'll show you how to do that. Stand by. Alright, you guys, so first thing I'm going to do is, in order to prep the book for signature, is this is a modern book, so it'll fit perfectly in a modern size bag and board, right? So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just putting it in a regular modern size bag and board. As you can see, this book already has Jim Starlin on it. I'm going to be adding Rubenstein, and I want to be adding George Perez there. So now that I have the book in the bag, I'm going to be taping it off in the areas where I want my artists, my creators, my authors to sign the book. So you get your handy dandy blue tape, right? This one, the particular blue tape that I like to use, it's really thin. I think it's about 1/2 inch. So I use that one just because it gives me more room to play with when I am making my window bags. So I'm going to outline where I want the signature to go, and I want Perez to sign it right on the cuff of the gauntlet, right? So I'm going to start making my border. There's 1, So I want him to sign right in there, right? So I'm going to give him what I feel is plenty of room to work with, what I hope is plenty of room to work with. Hopefully he's not one of those guys that doesn't like the window bags and asks me to remove it from there. Just because when you're in line and you're shuffling through books and you have all kinds of stuff that you're handling, it's just easier to work with these window bags. Okay, so I'm going to get Perez to sign here. And it's not like perfect. I've gone over it. That doesn't matter. What really matters is here. I'm giving him that nice landing strip where I want him to sign. So don't worry too much about getting these edges and all that stuff perfect. Nobody's really going to care about that. And the other one that I want to get to sign this is Rubenstein, right? I want Rubenstein to sign up here. Hopefully that's enough room for him to work with. He has a pretty big signature. Another thing that I suggest, and my kids are going crazy in the background. Another thing that I suggest is when you're figuring out where you want these signatures to be, is take a second to Google the artist. Google what their signature looks like. Google what their autograph looks like. That way you can be sure that you're giving them enough room. Now I've seen Rubenstein. Rubenstein's the kind of guy that the more room you give him, the more he is going to take. So I'm going to be careful about how much room I leave him. All right. Hold on real quick. So what I'm going to do now is I'm taking the book and board out of the bag. I'm going to replace it with another book, with another board. And I'm just going to follow my lines and cut those little windows out. I just don't want that book in there while I'm cutting. I don't want any accidents to happen. So 1, 2, 3, and I've made all 4 of my cuts. So now I pulled my plastic out. There's one, and there's Perez. Now, depending on how fancy you want to get as far as these signatures and colors, you can do all kinds of stuff. There's the metallic Sharpies. They have flat colored Sharpies with all kinds of different colors. They have really nice paint pen Sharpies. This is not my book. I'm prepping this book for a friend of mine. So he just wants solid black, but I will show you a trick that I use when I'm prepping these books. Okay, so I got my windows cut out, and now I'm putting the book in the bag. And you got to be careful. Lift these little flaps up so that way the window doesn't catch on the bottom edge of the book when you're putting it back in. All right, cool. So there it is. Going to get Rubenstein to sign there, and I'm going to get Perez to sign there. Last trick I was going to show you guys that I do when I'm getting ready for these cons is I take a piece of plastic that I've already cut, and I test the colors. So I got bronze. I didn't spell that right at all. Oh my god, I know it's upside down. Sorry. So I got bronze, I got gold, and I got silver. So I kind of put those over just to test. Now look at that. That silver on that gold pops. That's nice. That bronze, it's okay. It's a little bit different color. The gold on the yellow kind of tends to get lost a little bit. Let's see here. So the gold would look okay there. Nah, I think the bronze and the gold both kind of get lost. The silver would look good there too. Look at that. But my buddy, the one that I'm prepping the books for, doesn't want any of that. He is old school, so he wants everything in black. So what I do is I write the artist's name so I don't forget who I want to sign where. So I'll write Joe Rubenstein black. And then here I'm going to write Perez black. So that way while I'm at the con, I'm not going to forget who I need to sign, what space, and where, and in what color. Let me show you real quickly. And then the last thing that I'll do to get this book ready is I'll throw this book, now that I've got it bagged and boarded. These windows are exposed, right? They're exposed. So And while I'm traveling, I don't want the book, the surface, to be exposed to anything that could hurt it. I'll put it in a larger bag. This is a gold, or excuse me, not a gold, that's a Silver Age bag. So I'll put this whole thing inside of a Silver Age bag. So now it's double bagged and boarded. When I need to go get it signed, I just pop this one out, hand it to the artist, let it dry, and then I pop the whole thing back in here, and then I can walk away and enjoy the rest of my con, knowing that my book and the signatures are nice and safe, and they will be protected. And let me show you an example of one that I've done with colors, so you can get the idea. This is another book. So see, I have Joe Rubenstein. I want him to sign here in gold. I want George Perez in silver. And it kind of helps to differentiate my book from my buddy's books. Lucky son of a gun. He got a 9.8 on his, though. So good on him. And hopefully he can keep that grade. And that's it. So just wanted to share that with you guys. That's how I tend to prep for cons. Hopefully you guys found some value in that. Again, sorry for the glare, but I was just trying to show you guys more what the my procedure is for, and not so much like showcasing the books themselves. So anyways, you know what it is. I'm getting ready for East Coast Comic Con. It's Chulu's Comics. Until I see you next time, keep stacking out with comics.